Gibbo presents.
It's Gibbo, and right now I'm joined by Miami's Prime Minister and Global Ambassador of Music and Culture. Representing Major Lazer and Black Chiney, it is Walshy Fyah.
Gibbo. What's up, Gibbo?
Very well, I am over here in the UK. You're out in Iceland
I'm in
for
Iceland,
a show
right?
tonight.
Yeah, man, in a few hours, Just came from Africa, too, so it's like a total climate difference, But we give thanks, fully give thanks.
I'm going to start by asking you about that recent trip to Africa. I noticed you put out a BBM broadcast message just as you were leaving. And to quote it, it says, "Africa, thank you, greatest moment of my life. We will be back and touching every corner. Much love. Hashtag Africa is the future."
You see it?
Yeah, tell me why that was the greatest moment of your life and why is Africa the future?
Well, to be honest with you, just for the obvious reasons, to be a person of African descent, to be historically knowledgeable of my African culture, to go to Africa, anywhere in Africa, is automatically just huge, It's just a big part of what I think every African spread out the globe should do. Everybody should at least touch Africa at some point in their life. But going to Kenya in particular, Nairobi, and seeing Africans, just living completely different lives of what you think. It's not like, you just in your brain, you have something, and then when you actually go see it, you just have to actually, sit down and be like, wow, this is not what I thought it was going to be. And it was a true blessing, man. I love Kenya. I love South Africa. Those are the only two places that we got to go. And me and Diplo, we both feel like there's been something happening, with Afrobeat over the last couple of years and with a lot of the music coming out of Africa. But we also believe that it's about to be really big. And so Major Lazer, we want to be a part of that in every aspect, as far as the local artists, doing production for them, as well as getting some of them on our album and things like that. So most importantly, Africa is the future because of all the reasons you can think of that you see on CNN and BBC as far as economics and all of those things. But musically, Africa is also the future. So right now, we just did, those shows we did those for free because we just wanted to be in Africa so badly. And I would do it again, man. I would do a whole entire free tour in Africa if it meant I get to actually go and experience all corners of Africa, So Africa is definitely the future. Hashtag that. Everybody, make that your hashtag. Africa the future.
Speaking of the future, in the not too distant future, February the 25th, Apocalypse Now, the new Major Lazer EP, will be released. Pharrell Williams, Sean Paul, Marshall Montano, RDX, Mosca, and Mr. Fox all feature on the release. Can you explain why you chose to work with each of those artists?
I think the best thing that works for myself, and I think the rest of the guys in Major Lazer and in Black China would also agree, is being friends first. If you're a friend, if you and the artist have a friendship, working just becomes natural. So it's not like you say, yo, I really want to go work with this person, and then you have to navigate through everything to get to that person to actually get the work done, versus when you and an artist are real friends, the work gets done quickly, it gets done easily, and it gets done how you want it done. It gets done professionally, And so that's the thing. When you see those artists, those are our friends. When you see the artists that we've worked with, War 21, Conscience, Vibes Cartel, everybody, those are people that we actually respect and have real friendships with and would love to do more work with. So that's the first ingredient, I think, when you look at anything that Major Lazer does, and especially with this album, those are all songs that we were working on for a while, with people that we actually consider friends. When we go to Jamaica, we go check them. When them come foreign, them come check we. So, you know, that's why you're seeing those people on there, because we really respect the work that they do and actually have a friendship with them.
As Major Lazer's popularity increases, do you feel under pressure to work with only quote-unquote big-name artists?
Hell no. We don't even think like that. Like, if you listen to some of the songs where we have a come up, Jano, you know, some feel like to play some of them feel. Yo, we have some songs coming up with artists that you might not have ever heard of. Well, actually, I think pretty good at that. Working with artists that people have never, ever, ever, ever heard of. And that goes from artists in the Caribbean with nobody in a year of outside in the world, and vice versa. You know, you have some big artists where Jamaica never hear about, like Ezra, who sang Jessica. You know, when he performed it at the Major Lazer concert, which is a show that I do every Christmas in Jamaica, the place went crazy, but they have no clue that that guy is the lead singer of Vampire Weekend. You know, they don't know what Vampire Weekend really is like that. But that's what I think Major Lazer is great at, being a bridge between what's going on in the not dancehall world and what's going on in the dancehall world, and making those two people have a conversation with each other in some way. So it does, no pressure, hell no. Pressure, no way, man. I think we believe too much in what we're doing. We got too much passion for what we're doing to really feel a pressure, say, yo, we have to go work with this artist or that artist. There are definitely artists that are huge that I want to work with. You know, Shabba, Barry Salmon, Junior Gong, Taurus Riley. Actually just did a couple demos for us, you know, and he's probably one of the biggest artists of our generation. But there are lots of artists that nobody never hear about yet, ever. And we work with them the same way.
That's why I asked the question, because you have worked with a lot of artists who may not be known to a lot of Major Lazer fans, but I thought as your popularity continues to increase and increase, I thought perhaps there was pressure or expectation that you would only work with already established and worldwide names when it came to new material.
Never. That'll never happen.
Do you look to feature artists from different genres and musical backgrounds in order to try and make a release's appeal as wide as possible?
Say that one more time.
Do you look to feature artists from different genres and musical backgrounds in order to try and make a release appeal to as many people as possible?
You know what's so funny, to be very honest with you, I don't think we actually try to make music appeal to people. We just do music that we think is good music for the clubs. And I think that's where we start, is we start with actually thinking, all right, club, festival, yeah man, this is supposed to mash up the festival, this is supposed to mash up the club. And from, you have that mentality as a DJ, and you know that the song you're making is a song that can actually really do well with in your set, as well as if I gave it to Gibbo, and Gibbo go juggle the thing in Manchester or Newcastle, you know, all of a sudden he's getting a big forward too. So he's like, yo, this is good music, this is good. So that's where the focus is, that's the motivation, is to just make people dance and have a good time. There's no other motivation. There's none, zero. All it's about is making people have a great time in a positive setting. That's all it's about. You know, nothing else. So nobody sits and thinks like, yo, this song is gonna go play over there and da-da-da-da-da, and nobody thinks long-term like that. If it doesn't go anywhere, that's cool. You know, I just did a Chronixx remix of Smile Jamaica. It's a soul remix. I love it. You know, me, Chronixx, Kalissa, Takunda, all sat in the studio in Jamaica and did it. And, you know, it's just something different. If you don't like it, that's cool. But there's a whole world of people out there that will like it. And either way, I'm doing it because I like it, you know, and I feel like it's something that I would play somewhere, and maybe not in a club set, but maybe in like one of them, you know, sets that you got to play like different kind of music or something like that. Same thing with Bumaye. Bumaye is an anomaly, because Bumaye should have never happened and been as big as it was. You know, it's not a particular genre song. You can't say it's a dancehall song. You can't say it's a reggaeton song. You can't say it's a mumba tone song. You can't say it's an EDM song. So because it was so many different things in one song, when you're doing it, the last thing you think is that this song is going to be big. And if I play you some of the early versions that we had of the song, you might think that's better than the one that we put out because it was more dancehall or more this, you know. But then when we got down to it, we just say, yo, the worst that can happen is that people don't like it. And that then we just move on to the next one because we're here trying to rock the club. We're trying to make the people party. And so you put it out there, man. And when we put that song on, I still can't believe how big that song went, you know, and it receiving gold and platinum in a lot of parts of the world. And like I was telling you, we have to big up Busy Signal, because without Busy's hard work, that song wouldn't have went anywhere. And that's an important part of what's happening right now in music making. You, artist, you make a song, your voice for the producer, don't think your song is going to be an instant hit. You have to go out there and campaign the song, old school style. You got to get out there and you actually have to tell selector, yo, selector, here I go, I have a new song. Boom. And you have to go to the radio guys and say, yo, radio man, I have a new song. Boom. And you have to go out to the media outlets and say, yo, newspapers, magazines, I got a new song. Or if you have your team that does that, but it's better if you do it. You have to go out there and do the free shows. You have to go give the free dub plates. You have to do that. And Busy Signal did that. You know, he did a lot of free stuff just so that the song would get out there because he believed in the song. And we believed in the song. So we spent all our money and time promoting it, but it wouldn't have done anything if he didn't also do the same. So that's why I'm always have to say big up Busy Signal. You know, I'm big up all of the artists that do the same thing and understand if you do not promote and campaign your song, the chances of it being big are just not nearly as close as it would be if you got out there and did that.
So tell me a little bit about what the Major Lazer song creation process is like. Do you make a beat and then think of an artist who you think will kill that beat? Or do you make a beat specifically for an artist?
Man, there's no real way to say it, you know. Well, if it's a big up to Diplo, because really and truly he's the executive producer on a lot of stuff, man. And, you know, we'll sit down with our Abletons and we'll just start making foolishness. And then somebody say, yo, that sound good. And when it sound good, then you start work on it. Or you shelve it and you say, all right, I'll come back to it. So there is no actual process, you know. You're just constantly making beats. Super Dupes can tell you the same thing. You just make beats. And what works or what you hear sounds good, you just start work on it and you start developing. And then eventually you might be in the studio with an artist and you weren't thinking it's for them, but you met them hear it and then come up with something wicked. Or sometimes you say, yo, I know exactly what I want on this. I want Chronixx on this. And then you go and you do it, you know. So there's no real process. Everything is just, everything starts with just doing what you should be doing, which is making beats.
Let's touch a little on your own remix and production work. You mentioned earlier in the interview, just a few days ago, you dropped a remix with Takunda of Chronixx featuring Kalissa Smile. Plus, you've also done remixes of Mr. Vegas's Brock It Down with So Shifty and Q's OG Bobby Johnson. And you also produced Skyrocket with DJ Power.
Yeah, man. Actually, we did a video for that song, too. That's supposed to drop soon. But it's just a blessing, man. You know, I just think being a DJ for probably almost 20 years now. I start play a song in 1995 with a song called Changes from Nannyville. And, you know, from that I go Copper Shot. And then from there I went to Black Chinese for the last 11 years. So I think that being a sound man has allowed me to have a great ear for what sounds good and would move the crowd. And so, you know, I've been blessed. And so I hope you guys like all those remixes, you know, because that's what I do them for. I actually do them so that you guys can get out there and play them and, you know, and get your forward, you know. So enough more coming to. Work.
So has getting into production always been a goal of yours?
Absolutely, man. Right now I'm working on a rhythm with Sons of Dub called Mountain Peak. And man, trust me, I really feel like this might be the greatest thing I've ever done. I'm emotionally attached to this rhythm, wicked, and I might not do more than 5 pieces, but I will say this much. You know what? I don't even want to say who's on it because it's probably better if I just drop it and then people say, "Yo, that's wicked." But aside from that rhythm, I have a next rhythm as well. More one drop kind of thing. I haven't really stepped into the dancehall as far as a juggling. I do have a couple of dancehall singles, but I would like to eventually put together my own EP of culture music, and it's called Reverence. And so, God willing, if I can find some space between this EP that just is the Major Lazer EP that's dropping in a few weeks and the Major Lazer full album that's dropping towards the end of the year, if I can find some time in between to do that, I'd love to, man. I have like 3 Chronixx songs that nobody's ever heard, as well as the other people that you see me working with: Kalissa, Kez Namdi, Kabaka, Jesse Royal. I will announce this much. The next, if you remember the Chronixx CD from last year, the Major Lazer one, that was, one of the probably biggest CDs in a long time to happen in reggae, and it wasn't supposed to be. There's another thing that we just did, and you don't really think about it. You just say, "Yo, that's a wicked artist. I'd love to do a mix CD with you," and then we just sit on par for 6 months, and then we made it happen. Same thing with this next CD, and I think it's going to be Jesse Royal. Jesse Royal is going to be the next Major Lazer Presents artist CD, because we've been parring. He's a great artist. He's also one of my good friends now, and I think that he's a superior talent, crazy talent. So, Wooly Puttings, lots of work, man, lots of work.
Start A Fyah, the mixtape you did with Chronixx, got great reviews from when it was released, and it continued to get plays not only on my iPod but around the world for months and months and months. What role do you think that mixtape played in the rise of Chronixx in 2013?
It probably played some role. But Chronixx is an excellent artist. He was going to be huge, mix CD or no mix CD, But if it did, then that's a blessing, and I give thanks for him allowing me to sit in the studio for all those hours that we did and give him my honest opinion on what we should do, and he gave me the same. He had so many ideas. It was such a blessing. So if it has, then that's exactly what I'd like to do for a lot of artists, for many artists.
How does it make you feel to know that you've given a young and up-and-coming artist, a very talented one as well, like Chronixx, a helping hand?
Like I said, just blessed, because trust me, really and truly, so they give me the same, they give me the same blessing, because now people might associate them and their rise with something that I've done. And so, it worked both ways. So I'm just very blessed to be able to put out these works that these young artists are doing.
Round about 12 months after you dropped Start A Fyah, the Chronixx mixtape, you released another one, this time featuring the work of Sons of Dub.
Right.
Now, if I'm correct, you met Ras Jammy at Kingston Dub Club last summer, having never met him before. Then, correct. Only a few months later, the mixtape was released.
Yeah, man, like me says, the same thing, and I can't stop saying it. Friendship. And that's what I think is the key part of the business, is that you have sound man over there, and then you have artists over here, and then you have producer in the middle sometimes. But I definitely think that it's just being for real friends and having a real respect for the producers and the artists. And so, when you look at Ras Jammy and you look at all the stuff he had done with Adis Pablo, Augustus Pablo's son, long before I met him, to meet him was a blessing for me, because I already knew what he was doing. And I think he knew who I was as well. So from we met at Dub Club, we just link. And to them, I talk to him. I talk to him maybe every single day, as well as Adis, And we realized that, or I realized that what they were doing was just revolutionary. Young, young youths, you know. I do dub music in Jamaica, and it's like, man, you guys are dedicated to something that the youths don't even know what it is. You know, the majority of the youths your age don't even know what dub music is. And these guys are dedicated to it, to play it every single day. So I had to put them on the Major Lazer concert as well. And if you ask Ras Jamim, can tell you, some people did not like it, but some people loved it. And that's all that matters, is giving people something different, giving them something that they might not have ever heard before, even though it's decades old. To them, it's brand new. So that's why we put that mix CD out there, so that we could kind of get the world to recognize that there are young people that are going against what's happening completely. They're not wavering. They're dedicated to that. And hopefully, you know, some other people will say, yo, I want to do that too. And it'll be a bigger movement. So that's why we put it out, man. And I think it went very well.
Does anyone ever tell you that you've sold out or that you've forgotten your roots by joining Major Lazer?
Never. You know what I get more than anything is I get people that give me props for being an ambassador of dancehall and soca music. Because really and truly, some people might think that I just represent Jamaica, but that's not the case at all. I represent the entire Caribbean region. That is my number one priority in music and in festivals and in clubbing, is to promote compa, zouk, soca, reggae dancehall, and any other thing that comes from the Caribbean, and getting that out to the masses. So for the most part, most people have definitely said to me, yo, you are an ambassador of culture. You're an ambassador of the Caribbean world, because you're bringing, for instance, at our shows, we play a dancehall set, and we play like a reggae set. If you go watch the show up on YouTube, you can see it. I guarantee you, these people that come to our shows, 10,000, 70,000, the majority of them have never, ever, 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 ever heard these dancehall songs that we're playing. Like we play a Wine and Catch, Charlie Blackson and Jay Capri. They've never heard that song ever in their life. Now, because we play it, I do believe that a lot of them, and they see the energy and they say, "Oh, this is fun." A lot of them do go research it, maybe purchase it, but for sure they're familiar with it now. And so that's the goal: is to get people familiar with all of these sounds that we are in the Caribbean, you know. Sometimes holding too tight, like we don't want nobody to hear it, and just getting it, you know, out there to the world, because it deserves to be. It deserves to be the best music in the world, because it is the best music in the world. It deserves to be on the top of Billboard charts. It deserves to get Grammys. It deserves to get the accolades and to get the money funneled back into the Caribbean for the work that these artists and producers are putting into it. It deserves the best. It deserves the greatest. So I have never, ever, ever had nobody tell me that I sell out. Now, I wouldn't doubt that somebody's on the internet saying that, but that's the internet. You know, that's not the real world. And if you really check the internet, more times it's people that actually don't go out at all, or they don't support dancehall on like an actual purchasing level at all. They just have an opinion, and there is plenty of places to go and say, yo, go suck your mama. Yo, yeah, idiot, me not like that song. What you do? But never, ever, 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 not once has somebody said that to my face. And I would say the same thing about probably every single artist out there. You know, if you are a Bounty Killer fan and you know like Beanie Man, I guarantee you never walked up to Beanie Man and say, yo, suck your mother. You know, but you was on the internet typing it, you know. And so, you know, you can be as strong and courageous as you want on the internet and say what you want. But nah, nobody's ever said that to my face, and that's real talk. But I have been very blessed to say that people have given me blessings for putting soca, dancehall, and reggae and compa to the world, which I will continue to do for the rest of my life.
So what percentage of people who come to a Major Lazer show having never heard dancehall before, and then hear you play a Vibes Cartel or a Mr. Lex, for instance, do you think then go on to be a fan of that artist or
Yes.
a fan of the genre as a whole and support and purchase music? Do you think that's a large percentage or just a small minority?
Yeah, maybe not a large percentage, but for sure a percentage, of people who say, I never heard Idonia in my life. I don't know what he sings. That then go from Idonia is a wicked artist and he sings this song. There's for sure a percentage, because our thing, it up on the internet, And so since people YouTube it and they put it up on YouTube, then people say, yo, what song was that? And if you look at YouTube, people are answering them. People ask questions, and then you have people who know what go on answering them and saying, yo, that's Vibes Cartel. That's, whichever artist, that's QQ. And that song is called One Drop. So I think that it's a great way for dancehall and soca artists to gain exposure to people that would never have gone into their world to even try to find out who they are.
I've heard you say previously that you think Major Lazer has influenced dancehall. Can you explain where you think this influence can be seen?
I don't know if I'd say that. I don't think I've said that. But if I did, I would say it in the context of there are people who come to us and say, yo, you were my inspiration to do dancehall. And a lot of the times, and I do have to get close to the camera for this one, they are not Jamaican, neither Caribbean. It could be somebody from way out in Russia who say, yo, Major Lazer inspired me to do dancehall. And like I said before, dancehall, soca music, compa, these should be the #1 musics in the world. And I will not stop until they are. And I'm glad to see people from Sweden and from one bugger different place decide they want to do dancehall, or they want to do one drop reggae, or they want to do soca, because that's what it's about. It's about having our little islands with their little steel pan and this or something there be as big as any other genre of music out there. And there's no reason why it can't happen if we do begin to put together a structure and get the music out there promotionally. So,
can dancehall learn a lot from Major Lazer, not just musically, but from the business side of things too?
I don't know. Dancehall not a structure. It's such a hustler's thing. It's such a it's such a chaotic thing, man. How anybody can navigate that, I have to salute you. I try my best. I try to keep up with everything, but it's so much going on in so many different areas that it's just very, very difficult, So, nah, I don't think dancehall could learn anything from Major Lazer. Nah. I mean, like I said before, that's not what we were even here trying to do. We just want to make everybody have a good time. And if we can help add structure to the thing, that would be awesome.
Does Major Lazer's popularity and success show the mainstream and crossover potential that dancehall has? Or do you think it's the unique way that you've blended dancehall with other elements that is the key to your success?
It's probably both, man. I mean, there's no real, formula. Like I said before, it's all energy, and it's all what's happening at the moment, and mixing what's happening at the moment with what's happening over there at the moment and what's happening over here at the moment, and in a way creating a new moment. This is something I'll say to anybody out there who's a producer and artist. Don't follow a wave. Be the person at the front of the wave. You got to be that person that has to step out and say, I don't care what the internet thinks, and I don't care what the people who are in the club think. I'm going to put this music out there because I really believe in it, and I really think that this is what's next. And I'm going to play these instruments, and I'm going to make these sounds because that's what's next. And of course, man, you're going to get a backlash, right? Look at Genius. Genius to me is one of the best producers that dancehall will ever have. When Genius was really starting, what they used to say, Gibbo, they used to say, Genius is taking dancehall to hip hop, and everything that he makes is too hip hop, And then within maybe a year, maybe less, but within a year or two, nobody even was saying that no more. All they were saying was, yo, this rhythm, they body rhythm, Because what you get is you get those people, like I said, before, man, there's two worlds to this. There's people who actually like go to the dance hall, drive around in their car and listen CD or listen to the pirate radio in their city or listen to online radio, And then there's the people on the internet that are just, I don't know, they just have no connection. So when they hear that rhythm, they say, yo, I fuck with this, man, I hip hop this. And then when you go to the club, you're like, yo, this is the biggest forward of the night. This is the biggest forward. You like, this is the best song right now. Same thing with Russian, same with TJ. TJ, big up yourself. Because right now he's one of the hit makers for dancehall. Well, people don't have anything good to say about some of these guys because they have no clue what's going on in actual dancehall. They're not there actually living it, 7 days a week like they're like another portion of the world is. So, I just think that you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in your product, and you just have to stay focused to the task. And you have to give yourself a long time before somebody says, you know what, man, you really were ahead of the time and you were wicked. Like I would say, give yourself 10 years. Give yourself 10 years before somebody turns around and says, yo, say, you were wicked. Just don't stop, though. Just don't give up. And that's what I think has worked for us. It's just not giving up and truly believing that what we're doing is going to tear the club up.
As you mentioned earlier, for the last 2 years, you've held a Major Lazer show in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
In which ways, if any, do you approach and prepare for these shows in Jamaica differently from your shows and performances elsewhere in the world?
Well, the Jamaica show is my show. I actually put on that show. I curate the show. So it's different in that aspect of when we do a festival somewhere like a Coachella or a Puckle Pop or Isle of Wight, something in the UK. We just prepare for our performance and then we go out there. But Jamaica show, we curate the whole thing. Sons of Dub was on it. Chromatic, Skrillex. Last year was Chronixx, Popcorn, and just us. And I think 3D Sound and Chromatic. So either way, it's all about actually visualizing the event. I created the whole stage, everything. Like I knew exactly what I wanted. I wanted a dome in an arena. Not a dome, but an arena style show. And we knew exactly what kind of lights we wanted. And we knew where we wanted the speaker placement. And I just went and big up to Kamal Banki, because he's the one that made that happen in Jamaica, man. He literally hit the streets and made that show happen. And took my vision and made it happen better than I had even said to him and anything that I had drawn or mentioned, So that's the difference, man. Jamaica's actually our show.
What kind of what kind of crowd does the show attract?
I feel because we have Sons of Dub and bringing up our audience, and then we have Chromatic, which right now I think is the #1 youth song. Them just received an award. I don't remember which award. But then bringing Fida crowd there, and then Skrillex would probably definitely bring in like the uptown kids that travel abroad and know what Skrillex is, and they came and they want to see it. As well as the Major Lazer fans, as well as people who are just curious and just want to do something different and have no clue what's going on. And they've never seen a light show like that. Or they've never seen, or they've never heard those kinds of music, before. So all kind of people, all different.
As part of Major Lazer, you get to travel the world and play to crowds of tens of thousands of people on a regular basis. And I'm sure that's an amazing experience. But how often do you think, forget the tour bus, forget the dressing rooms, forget the catering and the buffet, tonight I just want to juggle at an underground dancehall party?
Yeah, man. It happens every now and then, man. That's the truth. Which is why I always try to do an after party. The other day, last month, me, Bobby Chin, and Willie Chin, the three of us were in Cayman Islands. And man, it felt so good. It felt so good because I miss it, man. I miss it for really, talk and get the people riled up 'Cause, you know, the real hardcore dancehall them is like more talk and less music, you know. And what you say is so important to the delivery of the song. And yo, I just definitely, man, I definitely miss it every now and then, you know, because it's in my heart, man. I've been doing it for 20 years. Like I said, you can't just walk away from something that you love like that. Even though you know, many times, and I think a lot of dancehall people would agree, man. You know, dancehall sometimes it don't show you no love, you know, but we love it not because of the rewards we get from it. You know, we just love it because of how it makes us feel. You know, we love to see the people have a good time for a moment. You know, but I hate the fact that sometimes the dancehall, you know, forgets its pioneers, and it forgets the artists and the sounds and the selectors that have paved the way. And a lot of the times, you know, they almost disrespect them, and it's like, you know, nah, that can't work, you know. So that's the only thing that I wish dancehall did more, was constantly bring forward the elders and bring forward the artists that paved the way, you know, in some way. Put them on some, you know, on shows, and put them on rhythms, you know, and stuff like that. So I'm gonna try and do more of that as well. But I also realize a lot of the times these older artists and stuff are so difficult to deal with. It's just like, man, screw that. But yeah, I miss it, man. I miss it sometime. I miss it, man.
Last Major Lazer related question before we move on to another topic and the second part of the interview.
This is definitely a two-parter. This is definitely going to be a two-parter.
You're giving me some value for money this evening, Walshy.
Mm-hmm.
As you mentioned earlier, forthcoming Major Lazer album. Can you give me a little more info about that? Do we have a clue as to what to expect? Any artists who may be featured on there? Do we have a title or a release date?
A title? We have a few. But I think that one of the titles that we were going to call it, we might not call it that again. We were going to call it Radio Pirate, which is something that we got from I think it was friends. We were in a discussion with somebody, and every single time we said pirate radio, they said it the other way. But it just stuck. But then we came up with the idea of actually doing a pirate radio. And so I think over the summer, we're really going to try and work, maybe around the time of Burning Man, you know, a big festival in America during the summer that we go to, and actually having the pirate radio there and playing music for the entire Burning Man 24 hours a day, and just kind of seeing what that vibe is like. So we might not call the album that, but lots of artists, man. I just finished talking to Kali Buds. Kali just gave us a wicked song. We might have Ezra on our next song. Elephant Man, I've won. Sean Paul, I've won. Taurus Riley, like I said, give us some wicked demos. You know, I just finish them up. So much artists, man. It would be best to just say, you know, when end of summer starts, we'll retouch this topic, and I'll probably have more details.
Gibbo.